What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the FD Movie Podcast, official episode number 2. I am Brandon, your host. Alongside me always is Chris, the co-host, as I like to say sometimes. So, and our good buddy Andrew has rejoined the podcast for the second week, and we'd also like to thank him for the cool opening riff.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to use my meager talents.
Anytime. We might whore him out for more. Yeah. Actually, I think we're gonna enlist him for other just crazy riffs for the beginning of these things. You may have recognized that from the Terminator, and if you didn't, then fuck you.
Why are you even listening?
Why are you even here? Why'd you click on it? Because the title's going to be on the thing. Why did you even? So if you probably haven't already guessed it, we are going to be talking all things Terminator today.
Yes.
Huge Terminator fans, all of us.
Yes.
Huge Terminator fans. So
probably more than we need to be.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible. I don't know.
I don't know.
Just a bunch of men children here talking about.
Not so much anymore. But I used to have an unhealthy relationship with Terminator series, like unhealthy, like watching one or another once a week.
That's pretty sad.
I was the same way with RoboCop too. So.
Oh well. See, now I like Terminator better than RoboCop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like RoboCop, but RoboCop being as cheaply, it was supposed to look like that. That was supposed to be goofy. I think
satire.
Yeah, exactly. It was supposed to kind of make fun of stuff. I think it was great. I love all the ad placements and stuff. And there's just so many things to talk about, and we'll try and squeeze it into an hour long or so podcast. But I don't know. How do you guys want to start? You want to start with just numero uno, number 1? That's kind of the cream of the crop, or
or I mean, we could go around and say what our favorite ones are. Just
announce our favorite ones and be done with it. See ya.
And then we'll
get out of here.
Well, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
We can talk about them,
Yeah.
Or put them in order, I guess, if you wanted to.
We don't have to put them in order if you don't want to.
I don't like the order. I don't like the order because on different days, I like others better than others.
I actually get. I know it makes sense because I'm like that with other things. Yeah. Like this depends on the day. If you don't care enough about it, though,
depends on my mood.
Like you have your definitive. This is my favorite.
Yeah.
And then other than that, maybe your second favorite. Then other than that, you're just like, it just depends.
Yeah,
I mean, this is really not as bad as I remembered it.
That's me. It's 1 and 2, and then who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. That's that's probably most people with this franchise. But we can talk about the other ones too because there are a lot of good things about some of them.
Yeah. That
a lot of people I think really
more bad than good, but they're still good.
I think they underrate them a little bit. I think they give them a little bit too much shit.
Well, that's going to happen in any franchise when you have 2 movies that are so good from the get-go. Mm-hmm. Anything after it's not going to be good enough.
Well, that's usually if something just is such a huge hit. Yeah,
and I know we've talked about it a lot over the past couple shows, but Halloween is the same way. I would say Halloween and Terminator and I'm sure there's several more. That
you get 1 or 2 and then it's just
you get the first 2 are awesome.
There's always cases and exceptions to be made, but
the rest of them are just like man, they're not as good as the first 2, so I don't even care.
Well, this will get interesting because we all have actually different opinions. Yeah. Talking beforehand, we have different opinions about what we like more in the Terminator series, and some of us might have different opinions. So it'll be interesting. I guess let's just start with number 1. So, it was in 1984, came out. Arnold's biggest role, his first biggest role.
Yeah.
It was his first role, wasn't it?
No, Conan.
Conan, that's right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Well, that was pretty big. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was pretty big. Was it pretty big at the time, or was it bigger later?
Oh, no, it was big.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Yeah, I mean, why did I forget about Conan?
Conan was huge.
Conan was bigger. I forgot all about that.
It didn't show near what Arnold could be.
Yeah. And talking about steps down, going from Conan to Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which actually preempted Arnold from starting the Terminator and set back production like 9 months.
Yeah. Went for a shittier movie.
Yeah.
Which usually happens.
Well, Well, yeah.
I mean, that happens.
Well, and there's
much.
other things too with like actors and TV shows too, like that are trying to make that jump. Like Pierce Brosnan
that was the very first thing I thought of.
could have made, which he's one of my favorite Bonds, and he could have made Timothy Dalton's movies.
Yep.
Like he could have had those two movies if it wasn't for Remington Steele. So that where would we be now? Like what would people be saying? Would they be the shitty ones, or would it ruined it?
Oh, I don't think so.
Or
I think he would have,
because I think they would have wrote. I think it would have been different for him. I think it would have wrote,
and there might not have been a 7-year gap between these.
Well, right, exactly. So, and we could have gotten Goldeneye a little sooner. We might have got it at the same time. I don't know exactly what they were going to do. Probably not. They probably would have went Goldeneye the same time, but Goldeneye's still one of the best films. Anyway, this was definitely much bigger than that second one. Such an original story, original concept. For the time, it blew everyone away.
That's what I wanted to say about T1 is it was so new, refreshing, original. It was just, as far as I know, I don't think there was anything before it that came close to that kind of neat sci-fi. Time travel. I mean, there were others, but none of them that good.
Did Cameron get that story from somewhere? I've always heard that he ripped it off
of 2 Outer Limits episodes, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Demon with the Glass Hand is one of them, and the other one is called Soldier. And I've been told, I've not seen them, but I've been told that if you watch them, you can kind of see the influence.
Oh, okay. Well, I've always told that it was definitely from somewhere that he didn't come up with that. So, which I don't think he comes up with most of his stuff, but I mean, Avatar was Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
In space.
Yep.
So
Dances with Wolves was Fern Gully.
Yeah. Fern Gully. I'd rather stick to Dances with Wolves.
Yeah,
I think though it's still like too. Anyway. Man, this first one, you know what? I think I actually watched. I want to say that I watched 2. I don't know why that's a trend with me in certain movies, but I think I watched 2 before I watched 1.
Yeah,
and that could maybe that plays a part in my bias, but I think I watched 2 before I watched 1. When I watched 1, it was insane, man. I honestly don't know if that's really 100% the case. It's just so hard to remember that far back, but I think I watched 2. But it was so weird seeing Arnold after I was younger, so. Seeing more stuff of Arnold in it, he was a good guy, and everything, and then seeing him in this was insane.
Yeah, see, I like. I think T1. I think the story's much better than T2.
Oh sure, yeah.
I think it's much tighter.
It is tighter. It's more confined. It's way more confined.
Yeah, everything. All the exposition's told on the run.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a tightly paced movie.
Well, that's what drew out the action, not just the action, but the suspense, the story. Yeah. I mean, we were really running from this thing. This guy is relentless.
I think the pacing of 1 is better than 2. 2, I think. It always has you on the edge of your seat the whole time. There's no downtime. There
really isn't much. It's not very long.
No, yeah,
not as long as some
there's
scenes.
There's a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
Like T2, there's several scenes I can think of that are fairly long where nothing happens. They'll show something or
it's just exposition.
Yeah, it really
exactly.
is. You're right.
When they're in the desert town.
Yeah. Well, that was the slowest part of the.
Nothing happens the whole time.
Not
for
really.
A good 10.
Except for that crazy dream sequence. But we can talk about T2 more in a little bit. But that was.
But there wasn't anything like that in T1.
Yeah.
It's just maybe a couple minutes of downtime, and then the rest of it's just go. This guy's this machine's after us. We gotta go, and she don't know what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes it even crazier because she's he's trying to save her. And she doesn't know why, and that just makes it even more crazier.
Mm-hmm.
As they
who's the craziest one here? Like Kyle Reese is
exactly.
Yeah. Who's really the crazy? And I like that thing too. Though you've got two guys that show up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the one guy's bad, but do we don't know much about Kyle Reese for a little bit.
Yeah, and they keep him kind of mysterious.
Yeah.
Some of the
Well,
looks he
and
gives.
it's kind of like that in 2 with him and Robert Patrick, because until the mall scene, you don't know 100%. As far as I can recall, you don't know 100% which one's going real, because he's looking for this boy, and Terminator's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
The T-800's just doing his thing, and
unless you saw the trailers from that time.
well, true, yeah.
That's one problem I have with T2.
Yeah. Well, they really,
Well, marketing teams don't work with the production teams.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's one of the biggest problems.
They sure as hell don't care about what moviegoers, as long as they're paying the tickets. They don't give a shit if they spoil anything.
Just recently, off the top of my head, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's the guy that made Kingsman. He came out and publicly shamed the ad team for Kingsman, the Golden Circle, because they gave away Colin Firth? Yeah, they gave up Colin Firth.
That kind of upset me a little bit. I'm like, man, I was intrigued because I want to know more.
Yeah,
I want to know why.
I don't know
why.
Yeah,
but
how's he not dead?
But but I wish it would have been a surprise.
And it is the same case with T2.
Same case with Batman v Superman. It got panned because they showed Doomsday way before they should have. Yeah. But anyway, did you have something to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, as far as it goes, T1 is far and away my favorite. I've actually seen all of these movies first run theatrical.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In 1984, I was
showing you.
I'm showing my age again. I was 5, and my mom wanted to go see it so bad she just took me along. And I can remember she's like, "Hide your eyes," and I'm looking up and seeing this mechanical man.
Oh yeah, you're hiding your eyes, all right.
Yeah. And I think that started my love of sci-fi and action and horror was this film.
Yeah. Well, it's a good one to start on. Really.
I mean, it really, that's where the dynamic, it's so different from 2, where 2 is just a crazy fast-paced sci-fi action movie. Yeah. And 1 is almost a horror movie. Yeah. Really. Yeah. It's a horror movie. It's a thriller. Yeah, like suspense, action kind of. It's and I wouldn't even call it action. It's just horror. Yeah, it's horror.
That's what I was going to say. It's
sci-fi.
It's a horror sci-fi movie. It's more sci-fi than anything. And then 2 is more of an action movie than anything.
I think you can separate both of them, and just they're just both amazing. But the thing I love the most about it though is the storytelling and how tight it was. Yeah. You definitely can't take that away from it.
No.
Did they show anything? And it's been a while since I've seen it. Did they show anything in the future from the future at the very beginning, like they did with 2? Yeah. Okay, so
it's very brief.
Well, that was good. That was kind of my point. I like how they retold stories of the future as Kyle Reese was telling her. Yeah. He was telling Sarah through their running, this is whenever they had downtime, this is what's going on. Yeah. And just little increments. And I love that about it. I love that because the pacing was so great. Like you said, you really got to know Sarah.
Oh yeah.
Through it, you got to like her character, feel bad about
it. The character arc with her from beginning to end is just
solid. It's amazing. It really is. And it shows how she becomes this just normal, timid person into a strong person, especially just night and day in 2. But it's all kind of broken too a little bit. Yeah. But
I also want to give a shout out. The supporting actors in 1 are amazing. Silberman is great.
Yeah,
of course he gets a bigger run in 2. The 2 police officers in the station that are always bickering back.
Lance Hendrickson, right?
Yeah, and
Hendrickson, is that right? So. Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hendrickson. Yeah, awesome. That dude's in everything back then, and he was awesome in everything.
Yeah. They were all really good, and
everybody in the movie was awesome. Yeah. Bill Paxton, the punk.
Yeah,
that's a great little cameo.
Bill Paxton has not. I don't think he's ever been bad in anything that I can think of.
Even when he was cringy, it was good.
Have you ever seen a role that he's been in
that didn't make you smile?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even Weird Science. Yeah. One of the shittiest characters.
Oh yeah.
And just awesome.
Yeah.
That he's one of my favorites though. Twister is like one of my favorite movies too, and I love Bill Paxton.
It's the suck so.
it's the suck zone. I could quote Twister all day long. I still quote the Terminator movies.
Oh yeah.
You get so much enjoyment. Like it's funny years later, you almost find, I don't know what people were like back then, but you find so much humor now in things. Even when they're not one-liners, they're not meant to be funny. Cause in this morbid, dark sense of humor that you acquire.
Yeah.
Me and our other buddy Mike, and we always quote this movie. Hey, you can't do that in here, wrong, and then it blows them away. We always do something like that, just always stupid in a morbid way. But
hey, buddy, you got a dead cat in there? Or what?
Yeah. It's almost it makes it funny. Yeah. It's almost funny, even though it's not.
Because you need that laugh, that release after all the.
And that is kind of too. It's maybe it's like to us now it's just morbid sense of humor, but maybe it's a. What's the term I'm looking for? Like, kind of like a coping mechanism, or like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't think. It's something different, but drawing a blank on that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well, and there's several. I just wanted to say there's several things from
defense mechanism from
the older movies that are still used in the newer movies that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll Be Back.
Yeah,
I still like it.
Definitely cheesy.
It's super cheesy. Now It wasn't then, but it still like makes me giddy. Like I watched Genesis here again, like just the other day. I don't remember what day it was, but I was watching it, and he says right before he jumps out of the helicopter onto the other one,
He's like,
I'll be back, and he jumps, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
Made me giddy.
It's great.
I was a little kid again.
Well, because that's Schwarzenegger for you. Everything he does is amazing.
Everything he does, and like
some people hate him, but I love it.
I don't get how you could hate somebody that. Did he have any lines in the first one? Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what he says.
Well, he said wrong. He says.
Sarah Connor.
Are you Sarah Connor? And you say yes, and then she busts the door down and just puts the laser right between her eyes. That's the craziest, going around and just killing all the Sarah Connors in town until he found the right one, just to be sure. Yeah. That was just to be sure, because he didn't have a picture.
But like he doesn't say very much at all. Like he doesn't have, he had so little lines that I wasn't sure how many lines he had.
Oh, well,
you know what I mean?
And the gun story has quite a few lines.
Yeah.
Well, true. Well, still, anyway, he doesn't have to say a whole lot. Right?
No, it's very, very minor, but he does have quite a few lines.
He still made the character so good. Like there's
it's his look, it's his walk, his presence. He was just evil.
Yeah.
And Arnold's he's not a very tall guy in real life, but he's a big guy. He's still huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still is to this day.
Pretty big now. Yeah.
But presence, the way he's scanning the parking garage as he's driving.
Yeah, just looking.
He can look no matter how much anybody.
That was it. But that every scene, and I think they reused the shot quite a few times or something similar. But that anytime it was after he took the glasses off and he already had the front of his hair front, and he was looking for him and he was driving, and every time they'd use that shot, he was riding down the road and he was doing this, and it just a certain no eyebrows, just a certain way he was scanning everything and looking.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Yeah.
That was intense shit.
And, like what I was saying is, I don't know how you could say that he's not a good actor when he doesn't have to use his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes fun of the way he talks, which everybody makes fun of the way.
But it's become likable too.
It's not like he can act so good.
He really
without saying a word.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody gives him enough credit for it. He, especially T1, more than any other movie, I think. He did really, really good acting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looked menacing as shit.
Yeah.
And it may have been the director, leading him. It may have been the cameraman catching him just right. It may have been other things too.
There's a lot of things that happen.
But still, he looks the part so well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how.
Sometimes things just work out too.
Yeah.
Like you can. We've done that with audio and stuff too, where we're like, "Oh, this sounds like shit," and I'm not saying we're experts anyway, but you go back and listen to it. then we go back and I'm in post and I'm like, oh, that wasn't half as bad as I thought it was. Yeah. So or that scene really worked out, or I edited it wrong. I spent way too much time. Sometimes you spend way too much time and you overdo it, and then it comes out. Sometimes things happen by accident.
Just catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes things happen in post that it's just complete by accident, and it worked better. So.
Yeah, but I really don't think that happened with T1. I think
everything was just a line.
Everybody was just that good. I think everybody actually gave a shit about it, and that's one of the reasons why it just worked.
It's good that it was so tight and so well done because the effects, not most of the effects don't hold up at all.
Oh no,
I don't think.
No,
some of them would. I think some of the miniature effects hold up, but. As far as the prosthetic heads,
right, the pup, it's like a puppet trick kind of thing. Yeah, it's
the trend. That's the biggest thing for me.
Sometimes and some of the shots though, not to interrupt you, but like some of the shots with the endoskeleton at the end was a little
the stop motion.
Stop motion's a little rough, but that wouldn't hold up.
But like some of them with like the HKs in the future,
right?
If I didn't know that was a model,
Oh yeah, I'll give you that for sure. There's definitely some things, but some things just can't be helped with time. Some things you just can't help. It's no different than driving cars and the grain that you get, that natural grain you get when you film, and sometimes you just can't get that out either.
But
that's what's special about it.
What year did T2 come out?
91.
1991, and I still think T2 is the standard for a lot of CG.
I can agree. I think there's some moments you'll catch.
Oh yeah,
but
there's several.
There was
several in T2 that looked.
There was a couple like puppet heads in that too. Wasn't the one where he opened? Was it just in a special scene?
Oh, where they
opened his head up or they opened up the. No, that was the back.
No, that was when he came out of he tells them I'll be back. Comes out of the elevator and they start firing on him, and there's a dummy.
That's right. Yeah.
But before we get on to T2, I want to say another unsung hero in T1, and this is kind of going back to our last episode with Christine, is the score. So iconic that they still use.
Oh yes. Yeah. I guess we. Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have to be done with T1 yet, but that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. The score was amazing.
Yeah.
I actually I hadn't watched the full movie in a while, but I don't even remember what I was watching. I think I was just looking up old cool scenes, and I think I was looking up RoboCop stuff, and one of them was Terminator. Yeah. And it was the scene. It was a scene on YouTube, and it was a clip from YouTube, and it started in the nightclub when he first pulled Sarah Connor out of there, and Terminator lit the place up, all the way up until. I don't remember exactly. It was probably a 10 or 12 minute video, and a lot happened in that 12 minutes, 10 minutes, just with the car chase and everything. Him getting a car, both of them getting a car. Man, that was, and a lot of it was music, but it was so intense. And even though I've seen it countless times, you just get into it, and you're just, you're so into it.
Yeah, the music from one made it. It's almost like it makes your brain rush.
Yeah,
just as fast as they're running from him, like it makes you like, oh.
I mean, do you remember the first feeling you had when you watched it?
I remember kind of being scared a little bit because it's dark.
I was a little freaky. Yeah, it was because I was young again when I watched it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was really little.
Yeah,
me and him weren't even born yet when one came out.
Yeah, well, I saw it that time and saw it years later when it came out on television, syndication or whatever, and. Yeah, I remember being slightly scared, by that time you're 10 or whatever, but yeah, absolutely.
Did it take you a few times then to be like, to really just, or, just really, wow, this is.
Yeah. From then,
obviously.
And then around that time, T2 was coming out. So I don't know how many times that summer I watched T1.
Yeah, right. Right. Man, that just to get ready for 2. Yeah, I remember those feelings with other things.
I bet it was probably 94, 95 before I watched them.
It was probably mid-90s for me.
But I did watch 1 before 2.
I mean, they were out in VHS, I know for sure.
Yeah. Well, my mom and dad had both of them.
Yeah.
And I never did watch any of them because back then I was all about Westerns.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Westerns.
I was a cowboy. But...
he's still a cowboy.
Yeah.
named his kid after a cowboy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But yeah, I was probably 10.
And no, not John Wayne.
No. Probably a little under 10 or right at 10 when I watched the first one, and I remember it being scary.
Yeah.
Like that was my first idea about it was scary because it was dark. Anything, back then to me, anything dark was scary. Didn't matter what it was. Like it could have been a comedy. If
I was a little bit more timid back then, so I think anything
if it was shot in the dark, I was like, ooh.
Knowing that Arnold was a bad guy, it was scary enough. I'm like, oh man, yeah. I'm like, this is just. And, I don't want to see him hurt good people.
I got a fear of block-headed people. They're up to no good.
That's what it is. Yeah, anybody with a square head and square glasses.
If your head's square, you ain't up.
If everything on your head's square, even your glasses, I can't trust you.
Get out.
Get out.
Yeah, get out.
Get out. I love that they reused that line in the second one. Actually, in all of them, wasn't it? It was just about all of them.
Yeah.
I love it. Even with the T-1000, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And the Technor scene, it's probably my favorite scene of all time.
Really?
How the whole thing just...
Which one was it?
The shootout.
Oh, yeah.
How everything just slows down. Even the music's in the background.
Yes. That's a very...
All hell's breaking loose.
Well, you've got such a different light, like the lighting and everything, which is very time period. But that was awesome for me, too. I love that. I think that, and I don't know what else. There's so many different parts that I like. The car chase stuff. I tell you what, my favorite, probably my favorite is the police station. Just from the time he ran through the door and just took everybody out, and you're just like,
these people are dead.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you're in awe, and you're like, oh my god. I knew deep down that there was nothing they could do about this. No. Because what cops can do anything, what cops do anything in real life most of the time, but other than just domestics.
Yeah.
But
nobody's ready for a robot to walk in.
But hundreds of cops.
Oh yeah.
Gone. Yeah. Dozens, hundreds, whatever. That's still
my favorite. That's my favorite scene. But yeah, I would
like,
say
what do you do now?
It's got to be my second favorite.
Yeah. What do you do when this whole police station is just destroyed and no one's there to help you anymore? Them cops couldn't protect you, and you knew that going in.
It was that right there was more for you to feel bad for her.
Yeah.
Than to feel
She's
bad
almost
for
because her and Kyle were basically imprisoned in there.
Well, to answer your question, you go make a baby and
well, yeah. Well, in a hotel room.
Yeah.
In a flea hotel.
Yeah.
Who the hell? I don't know. I guess there's I call it the speed syndrome. People when they're scared, they want to have sex, and I guess that's what happened. To
brand new people that just perfectly good strangers.
I mean, how
nothing like a crazy.
What does that say about Kyle Reese though? That he would take advantage of a scared woman.
Yeah.
In that,
I mean, did Kyle Reese know he was going to be the
I don't
father?
think so. I don't think so.
I think that was the plan.
I can't remember if he was told or not.
I don't think they ever alluded to it. They never even alluded to it. It was just hey, you're going to have a kid, and this is who I'm here to protect. I'm here to protect you. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And Kyle Reese is the one that impregnates her. Maybe that changed, and that just changes everything probably. But
she had to love it because he wore those soiled hobo pants the entire movie. It had to have been great.
Yeah. Oh,
and you know what's crazy looking back now and thinking about it. Edward Furlong came out of Kyle Reese's balls. Like that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like what the weirdest kid come out of a badass.
The weirdest man.
Oh my god.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Have you seen him lately? Edward Furlong is an adult.
Dude, he looks so bad. How's he not dead from a heroin overdose?
You think this is like okay? Like you know how Haley Joel Osment grew up and got fat and kind of looked rough. Well, like. Edward Furlong did that, but he looks like Bobcat Goldthwait at the same time. Like it was like Bobcat Goldthwait in the 80s meets Edward Furlong in 2010s, or if he's not dead yet, I think he's alive still.
Yeah.
The only thing he's been in was what? Terminator 2 and Pet Sematary 2.
Detroit Rock City.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He doesn't look too good.
Oh, wow.
No.
Poor kid.
Yeah, he went from that to that.
Yeah, you think?
Oh, my God. And I don't know.
If anybody doesn't know, like, you can look it up. Just think of a fatter, like what Macaulay Culkin looked like this is what Edward Furlong looks like,
no.
except fat.
No, Macaulay he's cleaned up.
No, I know, but what he did.
He started.
I mean, Macaulay like a few years ago before he cleaned up. He got real skinny.
Oh yeah.
And then take that and flip that around the exact opposite. That's Edward Furlong. Yeah. Just rough, drugged up, but fat.
You were talking about Kyle Reese's genitalia. I don't understand how Michael Biehn wasn't a bigger star.
I know.
I don't either.
I know. Michael Biehn was awesome.
He usually always is.
I know, and everything he's in, he's awesome.
Why, Johnny Ringo?
He was. Who else? He was. Most recently, he's done two things that I can remember. Now I know he's done more than this, but he was the dad on "Take Me Home Tonight," the comedy with Topher Grace.
Oh, I didn't.
There's a comedy from a few years back. It was takes place. Well, it took place in the 80s, so I had to watch it because I like the 80s. But he was like the dad, and then he's the voice of Sergeant Rex Powercolt in Far Cry 3: Blood Dragon.
Oh yeah, he was.
And kind of made fun of that 80s.
Yeah. The movie's all right. There's a movie in your store called The Divide. Have you seen it?
I have not seen that.
Yeah,
no.
He's like the super of this building, and everybody thinks he's crazy, and he's the only sane one in the entire.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
I think I have seen that.
I guess I need to watch that then. That'd be.
Yeah. It's a weird movie.
Yeah. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it was
where they're all dying from radiation from fallout.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to watch that.
Trippy.
That's cool. Yeah, I agree though. I don't know why it wasn't a bigger star.
Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I want to know who in Hollywood is like. There's got to be a conspiracy theory against him. Has to be. He's an awesome actor. He's got a good presence, and every movie he gets in, they kill him. Every one of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's ever lived.
I don't think he has.
Well, that's kind of like Sean Bean, but he's still getting work. Sean Bean's died in everything, almost everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, literally
and
almost.
He's another one. He's good in everything.
Have you seen that? I don't remember the name of the movie now, but he's the one. He got pushed off a cliff by a herd of sheep or cattle. It's either cattle or sheep. You look it up on YouTube.
Stampede Earl.
It's like they're on a hill. It's like, and I think it's probably in like Ireland or something. It looks like it's one of those places. Anyway, it might have been cattle, but it's like sheep or cattle. It's a herd of something, and it was so cheesy too because they come at him and he's looking like this, and all of a sudden it looks like he jumps. He doesn't get pushed. He just jumps and then falls. It's the cheesiest, dumbest thing, but it's great. It's hilarious.
Really though, if you look those numbers up of people that actually happens to, you'd be surprised by how many people
get herded off a cliff by sheep.
Yeah,
or cattle. By cattle. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard him get trampled on and stuff.
Well, cattle will run right up to the edge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've actually read stories about people that had got pushed off cliffs by.
I thought you were ribbing us.
God.
Really, it happens.
That's insane.
It happens quite a bit.
That's crazy. Luckily, we don't have cliffs around here. We have hills. But we don't have cliffs.
I think we're up to like 400 people a year now. It was like 250 people a year got killed by cattle. And now we're up to like 400 something.
Really?
Yeah, just recently. So I mean,
that's still pretty low.
More people get killed by cows than sharks.
Oh, that's true.
They're the real menace.
Yeah. It's a good thing we cut them up and eat them. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I eat them. I eat cows because they're my sworn enemy.
Yeah. Yeah. All cliffs matter.
Yeah. I mean, and if there's any cows listening.
Yeah.
I'm coming for you.
Take notice.
Yeah, take notice.
I'm putting you on notice. You're on the list.
You're terminated.
You just made the list.
Yeah, you just made the list.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. I'll be back to eat that ass.
There's one.
I'll eat that cow ass.
Yeah. There's one cow out there writing notes too. I'm like, all right, I'm a motherfucker. It's like, don't you let a cliff get in between us.
Yeah, no shit. Now, when they get spooked, they'll run right up to a cliff. Yeah. And they won't stop until they see.
They can just abrupt stop. Yeah. Like a horse would probably do, I'm sure.
See, this has been educational too.
This is an educational podcast.
For anybody out there that doesn't know, horses will jump.
Really?
Yeah, they'll jump straight to their death. They won't stop. Some of them will.
So it's not like in the movies where the guy flips over the horse off the cliff and then has to pull him back up.
True Lies were the.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a great jump.
Yeah. I mean, some of them will stop.
Actually, he did stop in that one. Yeah,
a lot of it depends on the speed they're going.
Okay, that makes sense. It's because they can, or they just like, whatever, I'm bucket.
Well, yeah. Well, most of them.
I can't stop. Oh, whatever.
The ones that will stop.
Avenge me.
It's a fear. Like they have a fear of this or they have a fear of that. Most of them are scared of water. Mm-hmm. But there's still a lot of them that are trained to not be scared of it. So then whenever they're actually getting rode, then they'll actually jump.
Okay.
So
God, that would be that would have been such an awesome scene in True Lies had that horse actually jumped and it landed in the pool.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine that? I love the look on the guy's face though, just watching him, like he couldn't believe he was still after him.
Yeah.
Even after all that. God, what a great movie. Where were we?
Anyway, yeah.
I know we were still on T1.
Enough about barnyard.
Of the history lesson or the educational lesson on dangerous meats. You have anything left to add before we move on to 2?
Not really.
I mean, there's so much to say, but
yeah, I could go all day. It's my favorite film, hands down.
Yeah.
But,
And,
it's definitely it'll be number 2 for me. I'll have to say it's number 2.
It's number 1 for me, and it's just because of the story.
Yeah,
just because of the story.
Yeah.
The impact that the story of one made, not just on me, but apparently a whole fucking world of people.
Oh sure, yeah,
is astronomical.
Yeah,
it can never. I won't say that it could never be outdone.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a slight chance that somebody somewhere might come up with a story as original.
No, not anymore.
But I highly
anymore. I think we're out of original, really good stories now.
I highly
think
doubt anything will ever
be surprised.
Ever be T1.
Yeah,
from a sci-fi.
For me, moving on to T2. For me, I think what it is. There might be a little bit bias there. It was probably the first one. Plus, when I was a kid, you had Arnold was the good guy now.
Yeah.
But growing up, even it still sticks because as special as I think one is, as special as I think Arnold was, as great as I think he did as a bad guy, it's such a great film. But I think Robert Patrick took it to a different level. It's not I won't say better, but I'll say a much different level.
I will agree on Robert Patrick.
Because he was littler, but such a scary son of a bitch.
He is a
like that face.
Son of a bitch, dude.
He was fast.
Yeah,
he was fast. His face.
Yep.
The liquid metal thing was such a cool thing. Like that was scary as shit to me.
The part with the mom in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Originally in T1,
I quote that all the time too. Wolfie's fine, dear. Your foster parents are dead.
They were talking about going with Lance Henriksen as the Terminator in T1 originally, and so you kind of look back.
Oh wow, yeah!
Man, I wish I could have seen that. He could have been anonymous.
One of those square-headed, Beavis much skinnier people.
And you kind of did see that in T2 because Robert Patrick kind of
is. Yeah, much smaller. Yeah. Man, have you seen the audition tapes or heard about his story of the audition? How he went in and just gave him that look, like he did that, and he did it on Conan actually not too long ago.
I did see the Conan.
Yeah, he's like he did this look where he just said get it high and tight on his face, and he just turned real quick and gave him that look, and he still has it, and he just and they're just like that's it.
I really think he's probably a serial killer.
It just like a Mr. Brooks or like a Dexter.
Ooh, probably Mr. Brooks.
More of a like an assassin type.
Yeah.
Or like a cow charging a cliff.
Well,
or that's a straight psycho.
I'm not really sure. I don't know. I just know he's got that look about
just out of his element. Just doesn't even realize what he's doing. Like almost
a menacing son of a
mentally
bitch.
challenged killer, where he just doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just pushing you off a cliff.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just
gets
something
excited,
about him.
Reactive.
There's something about him. And I love it. He's
oh man, he's amazing in everything he does. But he never gets. He's like Bean and all of them. He doesn't get big roles.
Yeah, and I think that's actually good.
1 or 2, 3 big roles. But I
don't know if he's got. I don't know if he could ever pull off being a good guy. I mean, he has. He has, but not near.
He's better as a bad guy. He's better as a. He's either got to be an evil piece of shit, or he's got to be a white trash piece of shit, or an evil villain. Yeah. Like that's how Robert Patrick is for me. But he is amazing at what he does. He's amazing. That whole that's the thing. The thing that's the whole package of 2 for me And you'll see it in like the Blu-ray transfers. And I'm so bummed that the 3D re-release in theaters didn't come near us because we're in such a small area. Because I wanted to see that because I never got to watch it in theaters, and I wanted to go watch that. I didn't care if it was 3D or not. I wanted to see T2 in theaters. I was so disappointed.
I can say once T2 came around, I think I was actually 12, and I remember that's the best feeling I've ever left a movie.
Right.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's just from start to finish. It's got an okay story.
Oh yeah,
it's got a good story. Not as good as one,
no.
But it's just such a great movie. It's a great action movie. It's a great feeling movie. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. And if anybody could say, hey, a sequel was good, and a sequel pretty much surpassed an original. Yeah. For me, this is it. And not everybody will agree. You may not agree, but I think it surpasses in every other element other than story. Yeah. Other than just tight, structured story. Yeah. And that thriller aspect, I think it's amazing everywhere else. I mean, I think.
Well, there was
just scenes alone, just all the scenes and the lighting. The lighting had that blue hue to it, and it was, and I think that helps it hold up today better in like the Blu-ray transfers and stuff.
I didn't like what's his name, the guy we were talking about earlier,
Silberman,
the boy.
Edward Furlong. Yeah.
Furlong. Yeah. Can't stand him.
He was all right in that movie, but he was
the biggest downfall for me for the whole movie, and that's not saying too much because
he was still a kid.
I still absolutely
he's just a punk ass,
and they picked him literally up off the street.
Yeah.
So for a kid with no training, he's the weakest part of the film.
Oh, sure, yeah, but that's the thing. It didn't matter because Linda Hamilton was so strong and so good. The guy who played Miles Dyson.
Oh, Joe Morton.
Yes, yeah. He was strong. He had great redemption over when later on in the film. Yeah. Arnold was still amazing.
He's that the smart guy. He's actually one of my favorite TV actors. He's in a lot of TV shows.
Who?
And I love him. The black guy.
Joe Morton, I believe is his name.
Yeah. He's in a lot of TV shows, and every show that he's in, I love him.
Yeah, wasn't he just in Flash or Arrow? Which one was he in? Some kind of? I may be mistaken, but it seems like he was in a new superhero show, like I don't know, his Legends of Tomorrow, or if it was in. And I'm probably wrong, but
he was on.
It's more of a recent show that I know I've seen him on.
He was on Eureka. And
I love
Eureka.
I didn't watch Eureka, so I never watched Eureka.
And I love him on there. He's like a super smart scientist guy that helps the sheriff. And, you should watch Eureka. But everybody should.
Really, this is like the thing about 2 is it's like this. It's kind of like a Freddy versus Jason, and compared like you've got it's Terminator versus Terminator, and that's the focus.
Yeah,
and you've got, and even though Linda Hamilton is, she's got her own story, and she's still very strong. I feel like she's still a supporting role more than
and I think that was,
and John's the main guy that's supposed to be the main character because he's there protecting, but that's okay.
The humans were the weakest part of the movie.
Sure,
it should have been like Alien versus Predator,
but it wasn't. It wasn't near as bad as 3 was, we won't get into that just yet. But I think that even so, this was still perfectly done.
Yeah.
That was what was so great about Patrick and Schwarzenegger in this movie.
Backtracking to Dyson, I really liked. I would compare his character arc to where he starts and where he finishes, kind of to Sarah Connor in the first movie.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I'm going to save the world, and then at the end, he's oh my gosh, what have I done?
Yeah,
it's a totally different person.
It's just like all things. And not all things, but it's like a lot of things, governments, a lot of anything else where you get these people who think that they're doing they think it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
And, like people, it's like even the instruments they use now, like with the military and everything else to try and affect the weather or manipulate the weather. You're like, and I'm not going to get political here, but I just want to, should you really be doing it?
No.
You're messing with things, and that's kind of that's what they're doing with this, and I think, and I love that redemption like I said at the end where it sucks. He didn't take he was gonna go in there, but he ended up giving his life without the intention, but still such a good good role for him because he wanted to fix everything. This is not good.
And my least favorite scene in the whole movie is his death scene.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because
there's so many people that like every time I've said that to people, I can't count how many people have gotten pissed off that I've said that.
Why?
I don't know. I really don't.
Is it the breathing?
There's so many people that are like, well, it was good. It was a good death. I'm like, oh, I can't stand.
See, I chalk that up to his lungs were shredded by it.
Yeah. I mean, but still,
he was gasping for air. He was trying.
I still can't stand it.
Well, it was just drug out. Like it was just drug out because he did the.
Yeah.
But whatever. I get it though. I get it. And then just boom, released it, and it was still a cool moment. I still like the moment.
Well, I like the explosion.
Well, I'll tell you, the follow up was it the follow up? No, it was the second. No, it was right before that because it blew up. But like the grenade launcher.
Oh yeah.
And the minigun, man.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, the minigun.
Just awesome.
Yeah. The minigun was
even them driving the truck down in the bottom and flipping it around, that was
well to me
good stunts.
The
a lot of good stunts.
Was the best was the focal point of the whole movie.
What's that?
The minigun.
The minigun?
Yeah.
They one of the most notable.
They could have made a movie just about a minigun, and I
don't know him diving off into the deal would have been in the tunnels or whatever the.
Oh yeah. On the motorcycle.
Yeah, him diving off on the motorcycle, and then that semi chase, the chase,
the crane cutting through the buildings.
Yeah.
Do you think Arnold owes a little debt to Jesse Ventura for the whole minigun?
Maybe. Yeah, and he may have had to go to his house and pick it up.
Just pick up the minigun. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna need it. He just took it.
One governor to another.
Yeah.
One governor to another.
One future governor to the other.
I mean,
Jesse Ventura still had the do-rag on back then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you something, McMahon.
Hopefully it didn't have any tobacco juice on it.
Yeah.
But
what a crazy motherfucker.
In real life.
Not just I know. That's what I'm saying.
Not just the movies.
Yeah, I'm saying. Back then, though, he was big.
Oh, yeah.
He was a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's just like a crazy old bastard.
Yeah.
Which he's always
because
been.
He
is a crazy old bastard. Yeah. Oh man, such a
running around suing war.
I have to say it because I don't know, we're gonna get off, but I have to say the one thing about 2 is this is my personal opinion, but I think it's, if not it's definitely one of the best openings to a movie I've ever seen, like action movie I've ever seen anyway.
I will give you.
It's just such a cool thing, like him going into the bar. And, you have the Dwight Yoakam song on, then everyone's giving, and just him attacking the bikers, and then that fucking grab, he grabs that shotgun.
Yep.
That was the fastest disarmament I've ever seen, ever. Like, it was just nuts. Yep. And, I don't know, I think that was one of the funniest,
I'll give you that one.
In a dark way. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's the funniest.
I thought you were going to say The Fire, which I thought was a cool opening myself. Yeah.
The actual intro.
Yeah.
The intro was an amazing scene because that retold and the future they showed in that was awesome.
Yeah.
And they actually had really cool puppets, I guess you want to call them. I don't know. You want to call them puppets that actually walking on the skulls.
Yeah.
And they had like this room that's full of just big models that they shot and made it still looks great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was one of the coolest looking futures I've ever seen. Like, if you're going to have a war-torn future, I think it's one of the sci-fi. It looked like a sci-fi movie.
To this day, I think there's still movies that are modeling their apocalyptic future after that.
Well, T2 still is like one of the best looks I've ever seen. Just the designs of models and stuff.
X-Men, Days of Future Past, maybe?
I believe that's it, yeah.
I think so. Like their whole apocalyptic future, it looked the same. Like that was as soon as I seen it.
The Matrix, in a way.
Yeah,
the Matrix.
Well, they picked the right movie to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're modeling. There's still movies to this day modeling after T2.
Yeah,
that says a lot.
Oh yeah,
there's still movies being made that are modeling their CGI after T2.
Yeah, just great.
That came out when we were.
I know a lot of the liquid metal scenes
3 or 4 years old.
The liquid metal scenes still. I mean, if you don't look too close, those little caps they use, the splatter deals, those are pretty.
Looks like tinfoil.
Like tinfoil splat. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous looking if you really pay attention in something. But a lot of shots are so fast you don't really notice it. But the liquid metal CGI itself looks amazing.
Looks awesome.
Looks great.
Yeah, still does.
Yeah.
And there's a little nod. You're a big Guns N' Roses fan, right? There's a little nod to them, being on the soundtrack when Arnold comes through the shopping mall. He's got a gun hidden in his roses.
Yeah. I love that. Well, that and You Could Be Mine was used in the first when they were on the dirt bike. Yeah, that was awesome. Just what a great song. Yeah. But yeah, I love that. That was actually another one of my favorite scenes. Him carrying around that rose and then it coming out and that's when you found out he one-handed the shotgun. You found out he was the one protecting John.
He was the good guy.
He was the good guy.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know. There's just a lot of cool scenes and we still quote it this day. It's just one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yep.
I can't tell. We disagree, but I can't tell you guys are wrong because the first one is so good in its own way. Yeah. But I think just as a whole package, I think 2 is just better.
That's kind of what I was going to say to you.
Just biased.
Yours is T2 and mine's T1, and I can't say that you're wrong.
I don't think that's the thing.
All I can say is that's not what I think.
Can you say that about any set of movies?
At the same time, I can't.
Not really.
Like any other set of movies. That's what's so crazy about the Terminator. Is you can't say that about it, where one says, well, 1 was better. Well, the other one says, well, 2's better. Neither one of you are wrong. They are amazing.
No. Well,
Alien?
Oh, well, Alien and Aliens was amazing.
That would be my only argument.
God damn it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for running this awesome podcast.
For ruining my point.
This podcast is over. I'm not even going to talk about it.
No, that is a very good.
It's a very good one. There's no.
We need to do an Aliens.
Godfather 1 and 2 were pretty. 1 was still. I don't know. 2 was pretty good.
Oh boy, man, I don't know.
I don't want to get into sequels.
Yeah,
this is going to take too long. But yeah,
let's not
open up
get
anything.
Into Godfather
for a lot of reasons.
For a while, yeah.
The only thing that brings this story down for me is when they leave Pescadero to where they set out for Cyberdyne. There's like a half hour where it just lags.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's where we were saying there's a lot of exposition, and where the first one was told maybe a little bit better.
Oh yeah, well, like you said, it was tighter. Because it got to every point it needed to as quickly as possible, even in that 2 hour. I don't even know what it was like. It was 108 minutes. I mean, so it wasn't that long. No. I mean, really, compared to 2. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It was definitely.
And I guess you need that. You need that setup that the whole father symbol the Terminator was to John Connor. But
I have to point this out real quick on camera for anybody that does watch this. Never seen this before in my life. Andrew brought it along. Yeah. You say it was word for word, pretty much, or
there's a couple extra scenes in the original Terminator.
Full of Terminator.
Who's the writer?
Jim Cameron's friends. I believe it's William Wisher and Randy Frakes.
Oh.
Randall Frakes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And William Wisher, who's in both 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Still very good condition, really. I mean, that's for a book. The pages are in great condition. Yeah, that's awesome. I've never seen that.
If you can find that.
I don't know if you can or not. You might.
eBay.
Yeah.
eBay. Well, that's where I got my Halloween ones.
Yeah.
That's just, and they were higher than I needed to pay. They weren't like outrageous, so I didn't go crazy on them. Yeah. But as a collector and a fan, I had to. Yeah. We all have our vices.
I'm waiting on a good comic book version.
Yeah.
Of Terminator.
That would be very, very awesome.
I've actually.
They've done some. They've got some pretty cool toys. Did they do one?
They do.
Of the RoboCop versus Terminator thing too. That was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Was that a cartoon or a comic for a while, or was that just a toy line?
It was just a toy line.
Okay,
as
I was wondering.
As I know.
Okay, that was really cool.
I think that was NECA actually.
NECA did. NECA
did the Terminator versus.
A lot of cool action figures from NECA, especially their quarter scale. Those new Terminators or the Turtles are awesome.
Hot Toys Terminator is.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
I think it's one of their best.
If Hot Toys wasn't so like out of my pay range right now, like I would love to have countless. Like it would be awesome.
They're out of Donald Trump's pay grade.
Pay grade. Well, I don't know that bad. A couple hundred. I for a couple $100.
They're pretty damn bad. They ain't that.
He says, "I'm telling you what. I'm not going to donate my yearly salary anymore for being the president. I'm going to invest all in hot toys.
Yeah.
Hot toys.
Invest in hot toys.
Invest in hot toys. Let's move on to Terminator 3 real quick.
Oh boy.
We still got 3 more to cover in a shorter amount of time.
Well,
I think
that's good because I got about 2 minutes per one.
2 minutes per one. Really, that's it. I think we said just about all we can for 2. It's amazing, and so is 1. So moving on to 3, which was 10 years later or 12.
2003. It was 12.
12 years later. 12 years later.
I actually do like 3. Not anywhere close to either of the first 2. Not anywhere close.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to other action movies of that time, it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
If you take away your whole bias for 1 and 2, and you only compare it to other action movies that came out at that time, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
It's pretty corny. There's a lot of corny stuff.
The Elton John sunglasses.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess that's probably the corniest thing. But.
I mean, they even had one of those spots in 3. I don't know if it was a special feature or a deleted scene, or was it in the movie where he taught Arnold to smile? He taught Terminator to smile.
That was 2.
It was 2.
I know it was in 2, but was it a scene in the normal?
It was deleted.
It was a deleted one? Okay. I was wondering because I seen that was pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
I'm glad they deleted that. Whatever, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I guess
funny.
it's goofy.
They did it in Genesis.
But yeah, they did. Yeah, but that was pretty funny.
That was
funny.
Yeah.
The 3.
I'll give them that.
I think my biggest problem with 3 was the guy who played John Connor.
Oh yeah, I would agree there.
Nick Stahl, I believe.
Nick Stahl.
I would agree there.
Nick Stahl.
Yeah, he is a very weak actor. Very weak.
Well,
actor.
he's just
in everything he's ever been in that I've seen.
He's just like that timid kid you just want to beat up.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really bad, but you're like he was bullied too much and it just carried over. I don't know.
He looks like he just stumbled on to the set of the movie and they were like, "Oh, well, we need a guy that's about this age." Oh, here's
well, we can't bring Edward Furlong back because he's on meth. So let's get this guy
he's
in.
400 pounds and on meth.
Yeah,
we can't bring him back.
400 pounds.
I mean,
now Claire Danes though. I like Claire Danes in the movie.
Yeah, I like Claire Danes.
Yeah. I mean, she's all right.
yeah, she's all right. She all right.
Yeah, she's okay. I like Claire Danes.
She don't look bad.
She don't look bad. No,
she's not disgusting.
Claire Danes, Terminator 3. Claire Danes, Romeo and Juliet.
I would say T3.
Me too. The red hair and the
because I don't remember Romeo and Juliet.
You don't want to remember it.
I'm not going to.
John Leguizamo, Leo, and that was
I do remember
Leo
that.
DiCaprio.
I do remember that.
It was like a modern hip.
Oh my god!
Hip hop kind of almost
stupid.
version. Oh,
take your word for it.
So stupid. Oh yeah, don't
stupid.
ever.
Yeah, no, I remember. They made us watch that in school.
I think it was stolen, from the store.
And you're not even mad.
No. Why would I? And I'm not. And I don't mean it wasn't even stolen recently. I mean it's been years ago. Because one day, and
they brought it back.
We catch and don't get me wrong. We catch literally 100%, 99%. I won't even give it 100. 99.9% of people, and luckily we don't have to worry about it too much. But we catch almost everybody. We got lists. We got checkpoints. We got cameras. We stay on top of things. Sometimes things. This one years ago, several years back, way before I owned it, we noticed that we had a front case and it was just there. And it was around the time he had to redo the floors. So, we was moving shelves around a lot back then and they were separate. And I think that's when it happened, when we were moving stuff around. So it was either broken and no one said anything, or it was taken because the one we put behind it that had the actual DVD to rent in it was gone. And it stayed gone. And I think to this day, I know to this day it's gone, but we were just thinking somebody stole it, maybe
some masochist.
But yeah, it's like who in the fuck would steal Romeo and Juliet? That Romeo and Juliet. I understand Titanic.
Yeah,
I understand. The most stolen movie for a few years was Never Back Down and American History X. Those were the two most stolen movies.
Okay, now I can say, I'll say this. Okay,
If it wasn't the most it was most stolen and most rented, both ways.
Okay, I'll say this about American History X. I think it's probably it's
Edward Furlong's in that, isn't he?
Yeah,
is he really?
Brother. He's the younger brother, and he's actually good.
Edward Furlong stole him.
He's actually good. He's actually good, but he doesn't have a whole lot of lines, so that's why he's good.
Yeah. But
American History X is an amazing movie. It's an amazing story. Norton is amazing. It's an amazing movie. It's an amazing story. But I can also see why you wouldn't want people to know that you're renting it. Because of the cover, the box art. You don't want people to think you're, because when I was younger, I remember seeing it on the shelf, and I'm like, well, what the hell is the friggin' Nazis watching this?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't know. Like most of the time,
this?
And I don't know how every other place is, but I don't care what people rent. So
I don't know how people rent pornos.
It's definitely. Oh well, it's funny. We're getting off subject like always, but we have 2 Pirates movies.
Oh yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like the softcore Cinemax porn. And Jeremiah had purchased them. It's right around the time Pirates of the Caribbean came out, and he thought it was a B movie or something, and he purchased it. And
I know,
and put it on the shelf, and then somebody rented it, and he's like, "Hey, this is not what you think. This is porn." And he's like, "Well, no, it's not." He's like, "No," and he took it home and he put it, and he's like, "Yeah, this is my god."
Yeah, I rented it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and he's like, "I don't know how people it's like people have no shame."
That came out when we were like 16.
People have no shame. People will rent whatever, and that's the thing, and that's fine. We don't have a back section for multiple reasons, and so that was the only 2 things we have, and of course one of those reasons. Well, one of the reasons was it was a small town, so we don't want to know what everybody's into. I don't want to have to look at somebody, and they don't want to have to look at me, even though we have no shame. Like it's all free on the internet nowadays anyway, pretty much. If you want viruses, but whatever, most people don't care.
No.
2, we have disc cleaning machines, and I don't want to clean them motherfuckers. Like that would be the worst thing.
It'd be the worst.
Like knowing that Big Boobs number 3 or whatever. Was it BBW? Whatever. I don't know titles to porn, but
that'd be Big Beautiful Woman.
In 2017 be incest.
Yeah.
Because
I guarantee it. I guarantee
like this weird stepbrother, stepsister,
weirdo motherfucker.
Stepmother Goes Wild, Part 7.
God.
Anyway, I don't want them to return them and me have to clean them,
or just rent Sleepwalkers, right?
Or rent Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, if you're into the incest stuff, you can just rent Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, Flowers in the Attic.
If I haven't found the copy of it and burn it, rent Sleepwalkers.
I think I have that in the store.
I will find it and I will burn it.
You're not good. No, I paid.
I will.
I'm still paying on that.
I will melt that movie to the ground.
I have a life and I have a livelihood, and
it'll be empty right beside Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, right beside. Yeah, he's the one that took it. The dirty dog. He's the one. He watches Romeo and Juliet, though he didn't throw it away. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Ringing a bell.
As soon as you said John Leguizamo, I knew what it was.
And he's such a fruitcake and everything. Like such a weird dude in that.
I do like him in the John Wick movies.
Oh yes, no. I like him in those movies. He's normal.
Him in Spawn.
You really liked him in Spawn?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was a slime ball.
God, he's just whoa.
He needed. I read. We're getting off track again, but I read the Spawn.
Oh, we've derailed it.
I read the Spawn comics before I watched Spawn the movie, and so I was expecting to be let down as a kid, because I'd watched so many of these movies that I read the comic book and then they were shitty, and so I was getting ready to be let down. And Leguizamo was actually the one that was pretty decent really
because he was such a piece of shit. Yeah,
he
was a good bad guy.
Oh man,
he was perfect. Yeah, I mean the effects don't hold up, but it was I enjoyed the movie. Yeah. Anyway, back to 3. Don't really have much more to say about 3 other than there was a few good parts I like. I hated the guy that played John Connor.
Yeah,
I like Claire Danes.
I was disappointed in the female Terminator. They always come in naked.
Right, and I
like that she made her boobies bigger.
I liked her. I made her boobies bigger. That was nice.
I wonder if the men could do that too. Make their pee-pee bigger.
Make their pee-pee bigger. Well, that would be interesting.
I'm sure they could.
If Arnold was thinking about anything but killing, then maybe
Arnold wouldn't. Because he's not the.
Oh yeah.
He's not liquid.
Robert Patrick did, like straight up.
I guarantee
he was.
I bet he's just.
He was dragging it.
Town.
He was dragging it, wasn't he?
I bet he just walked.
Cuts like a knife, but it feels so right.
That's right. That's right.
I bet he's just walking around town dragging it all
right now.
All over the
Have
concrete.
you seen this boy? Hell no! God, get that away from me.
Why is he showing it to boys?
Yeah, well, cops, man. I don't know. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
kidding.
never know about
No disrespect to a lot of cops I know, anyway. But it's funny. Anyway,
Well, a couple of them I know.
The most, I think the best scene, we talked about it earlier actually off screen, but the best scene was the cemetery scene.
Yeah,
Him
the
holding
coffin.
that casket, the coffin. Yeah, that was amazing.
It's almost iconic.
Yeah, that was
It
just
is.
great.
It is.
It's such, and then of course the doctor was there, the psychiatrist there, like really again, and that was obviously a good comic thing.
Yeah, that was the best scene in the whole movie.
I thought so. The ending was so fucking weak, and I do agree with you on the female Terminator. I really do. Like, I really wish they would have done something different with her, or did even an entirely different thing.
Yeah.
But
I hate that they tried to throw in the whole. It was inevitable.
Oh yeah.
That that they didn't destroy everything, and it was going to happen anyway. But
yeah, just another. It's a cash grab. We
Right.
talked about that too. Everything beyond is just a cash grab.
Anything after 2 is a
And of course I'm an asshole because I'll give him my money to watch him because it's Terminator. If it's got Schwarzenegger in it, I'm going to do it. I don't care how old he is.
I will too. But officially, if Jim Cameron's not a part of it, it's fan fiction. to me.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'll still watch it, but it doesn't count. And after
Right.
2, it doesn't. But I hated the ending. It was so weak. It was so, because I mean, even after all that, they tried to do this modern thing where, hey, we're I don't know if they were planning on leading into something else or what, but it was just like, yeah, you can't stop it. It's inevitable. Yeah, that's like you said. I can't do that.
Well, it's like they realized that they could just throw that in, and then they could just make movies forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still doing that.
And her dad was such a Claire Danes' dad was such an asshole. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, for no reason.
There's
He was
no
an
reason.
ass for
Just
no reason.
yeah. I don't know.
Most movie colonels
Yeah.
are that way.
Yeah.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
What?
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to be condescending to you, and
for no
you're far out of reach talking to me. It's disrespectful talking to me. Like, get out of here.
I like how they wrote themselves into a hole, and they're like, she's like, "Hey, there's my dad's plane. I've got so many hours on it." And,
Yeah.
she's never done anything like that throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're off to where it's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, here's the keys. to
Oh,
my
this
dad's
wasn't
plane
this
that I-
wasn't to
that I
end it.
have-
This was
that
to
I have 40 hours training on.
this was
I also
the
have
ending.
a GPS and a map that shows us where we need to go
Yeah.
conveniently.
I don't know, and I thought the fight between the two at the end, the Terminators at the end, which you're used to the Terminator 1 and 2, the Terminator 2 fight between the 800 and the 1000. It was it's so lackluster in comparison.
I thought the Terminator fight was actually pretty good.
I don't remember it, honestly.
And it was.
You're suppressing it. That's
is it
smart.
The plane lands on him.
Well,
Or is it the helicopter? It's a helicopter.
I think does.
Yeah. I actually like the Terminator fight at the beginning though, at the vet clinic. That was my favorite Terminator fight.
I actually do remember the fight. He's not an actual T-800. He's like a T-850, and he's got a chip that explodes.
That's right. Yeah.
He ejects it and then throws it out the window and it blows up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I think I remember that now.
Yeah.
But the one thing I was excited about at the end of this is even if the ending was weak, they blew it up, and we're finally going to get to see the future in the next one.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Salvation was. Well, and I don't, you were excited about the future. You were excited about Salvation after seeing that, like just to see what it was like.
Yeah, I wanted to see the future war from 1 and 2.
Okay, well, if they would have done it, what we seen at the beginning of 2, and they would have done it, I think I would have liked it more.
Yeah, I think that's why Salvation was such a letdown.
But at the same time, I also kind of get this feeling now that they screwed it up. I just like, man, I'd rather just them stay in current times, and stay in some kind of era before it happened, and keep sending Terminators back. I know that's rehashed, but it just seems like such a.
I would have liked the future if it wouldn't have been for Salvation. Now I don't want to see it.
I know. I just don't care anymore, and I don't think we need it. We've got so many damn post-apocalyptic kind of movies anyway. Yeah. I know. I don't know how you feel about it, but I just don't want to see it anymore.
No, well, and Salvation soured me.
And there's freaking Christian Bale, right? It is right after Batmans and all of them got big, so we have to throw Christian Bale and everything, just like they're doing to Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, he's John Connor. He's supposed to be the franchise, and
Yes.
he's not even the most interesting guy in the
Well,
movie.
here's the problem with Christian Bale. This is the biggest problem, and I don't hate the guy as an actor. I thought American Psycho was awesome.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
You know, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And Batman Begins was amazing. And there's other things he did. Was it The Illusionist, or was it what was it when he got
The Prestige.
The Prestige. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was really good. Okay, so I don't think he's a bad actor, and I don't hate the guy.
No, he's good.
But at the same time, there are roles where I feel like he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And this was one of them.
Yeah.
I just feel like that he just didn't. When he's thrown into something that's already established,
I'm John Connor using my Batman voice. Join the resistance.
Yeah, we gotta keep this going because I gotta sell more Batman tickets for my next one. Which Batman Dark Knight Rises was fucking awful. I don't care who cares. I don't care. Anyway, I'll fight you. I will fight you.
Yeah.
I will argue with you all day. It's terrible. It is so terrible.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's terrible.
Well, we can do another one about that too.
I'd say
that'd be
it's
fun.
bad. I wouldn't say it's terrible.
Terrible.
As a casual fan, I kind of like it.
Terrible. Oh yeah. No, I completely understand it because that's all I hear. But that's okay because if you're casual,
then it'll appeal to you.
Well, that's you don't care about source materials much. You just want a good film, and that's fine, and it's fine for other people, but it's not fine for me because I'm not a casual. When it comes to Batman, I'm not okay with it.
No.
That's just me. But yeah, you're right. After Salvation, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And Connor or Bale run. What's the other one?
Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington, awesome actor. I love Sam Worthington, but at the same time, I don't think he's amazing.
No.
I really don't. I don't know.
I think he's good. I don't think he's
My favorite part was the stupid nostalgia thing where they brought in the CGI Schwarzenegger, the old 80s looking version, which looked ridiculous. It actually looked pretty good at the time. It looked pretty good.
I actually popped for You Could Be Mine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I popped a couple times, and that was the Schwarzenegger thing was definitely the biggest thing. And then I don't know. Other than that, I don't care. I don't care about war torn after post.
I was way more when it first came out. I was way more disappointed with it than I am now. I could actually watch it right now and
really
be okay with it.
Is there anything that you like with the saving grace in it, or
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I like the little touches they did that Kyle Reese set upon in the first movie, where he learns to tie the shotgun around his arm.
Okay, yeah.
The part where the T-600s have rubber skin that he talked about in the first movie is kind of paid off there.
Yeah.
You're told they don't, you can easily spot them, and the first thing that starts shooting at him is like this cumbersome,
Yeah.
And I like those parts, but
Well, I can agree with that. Because at least they're not.
You're working on nostalgia there.
Yeah, you're working on nostalgia, and you don't have these loopholes, and you're showing this. At least you're giving some credit to the original material, and I always loved that in the first one where he said, dogs was the ones that spotted them. We had dogs, and that was pretty awesome because natural canine thing sense.
Yeah.
And then we have Genesis that just released about a year ago.
I would say I would put Genesis
Maybe a little more.
over Salvation.
Oh yeah, I would too. And I'd almost, and you won't agree, but I'd almost put and a lot of people won't. A lot of people shit on Genesis, but I think it's over 3.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't.
I think it's over 3. And even though 3 had a couple really good moments, especially with the coffin, that was just amazing. But I think most of it was better.
Yeah,
it's better.
I don't. The only thing I really liked about Genesis, I loved the little kick. I don't know how you'd say the little nostalgic.
The nods.
Yeah. I love the nods that they gave.
Kind of an alternative 1984. Like it was just we had to do new actors. Obviously,
I love the first 20 minutes of the movie. They were weaker actors.
But, yes, they were. Well, it's because
what I was going to say,
and we're biased.
That's what I was going to say. Khaleesi or
Amelia Clark or
Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark.
Thank you.
Mother of Dragons.
Yeah, Mother of Dragons. She's just terrible. She really is. She really is. If she's not in something where she can't take her clothes off, she's not any good.
How misogynistic.
I don't care. I don't care.
Hey,
she's the one that
you make
decided
me
to
sick.
take her clothes off.
What's that?
She decided to take her clothes off, not me.
I can't. That's true. They paid her. She did.
They paid
I don't care if she stood her ground later. She's still done it.
Yeah.
And I can't say much. We were just talking about Claire Danes earlier. Anyway,
but
I agree. I don't think she's bad. I just don't think she's strong.
No, I don't think she's a strong actor. She's lead.
I thought she did okay in it. She did better than I thought she was going to do, but she still didn't do great.
No, I actually expected more out of her.
Yeah.
I know that may have been foolish of me, but I
Right.
did. I expected more out of her. I expected more out of
John Connor's twist, though. I don't know.
I hated John Connor. I thought he looked like a dweeb.
Yeah, well, he was the other dude in. Oh shit! What do they call
Doctor
it?
Who or whatever.
Yeah. He was also the third one of the brothers in that movie with Tom Hardy where they were running.
Moonshine.
Moonshine. Yeah, it was.
Lawless.
Yes, and I love Lawless, and I don't think he's a bad actor. I just don't. As John Connor, it was just weird seeing him like. And me and our buddy Mike talk about this going back to 2. That John Connor they showed in the future at the beginning of T2, I thought looked awesome.
Yeah.
No name guy, but just do you know his name? Did you know him? No name guy, but the scars and everything. He just looked like this bad motherfucker.
Badass.
Just not how you picture John Connor.
No, I mean, and of course back then, you what they thought somebody would look like in the future was way more in style with the 80s and 90s, but it was still cool compared to now. And he just had this fucking curly hair and he looked like an idiot, but not a bad actor. It was a weird choice. And it was a weird choice to make him
look like a man that'd been fighting a war.
And it was a weird twist. I think the weakest part of the movie was the weird twist where, it got him and then he's the bad guy. He's I don't know. That was definitely the weakest. I'll give you that. It was the weakest part.
I did like my favorite part.
Still better than the Terminator 3 woman Terminator though.
Well,
I have to say it.
I hate the powder.
I
hate the powder looking thing. Looks like he's got a bunch of flies or something.
Well, yeah.
I hated that. I thought it was stupid.
I've tried to block that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
I almost didn't remember that either.
Really bad.
Maybe I'm looking at this and I've got to go back and watch this again.
It's really.
Maybe I need to go back and watch this.
I just watched it earlier this week, and so everything that
it's still fresher. It's fresher in your mind than it is in mine.
Is her one-handed and Desert Eagle still?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It still pisses me off.
Yeah,
so bad.
I know.
That right there, you could literally.
That shows you how Hollywood doesn't have a clue.
Man, just that one scene almost it puts it.
She's like
friggin'.
And I don't care who you are, who you get pissed off at us or whatever, but she is a tiny person.
Yeah.
And even a tiny male could not do that.
Yeah. I can shoot one. I can shoot one one-handed.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah. I can shoot one one-handed just fine. However, the very first time I picked up one several years ago and shot and just handled it, it was very heavy. Like just holding it up with one hand, your wrist is just it is so heavy. I got stronger. I worked out and over years and then
a 50 Action Express does not kick that hard. Not in a semi.
Not in a big thing like that.
It does not kick that hard. But the gun itself is fucking 12 pounds.
Oh yeah,
it is a monster.
If you think about
it, heavy.
If you think about it. 12 pounds is in a gun is so much heavier with a loaded magazine and you fire it. It's not easy.
And they tried selling it where an 85-pound little white girl
was rapid firing it with one hand. I now in Last Action Hero, I can believe Schwarzenegger. I can believe Schwarzenegger doing it in Last Action Hero. It's ridiculous, but I can believe. But that thing was, and you can see it in certain shots in the movies where people, women, I think men and women both of all sizes have used them, and they don't look as mad. But this one looked terrible. This looked bigger than her arm, and it was just
yeah. Well, that's the point. That's the point.
That's the whole point.
The rifle they use, the anti-material rifle that they use, it's a great big huge son of a bitch too, with bullets that big. I mean, that's every gun in that movie was that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure if the Desert Eagle was made in '84 yet.
I don't know if it was or not.
I think it was.
It was late.
Almost like
late 80s,
at
maybe.
At least half of the guns that I seen in the movie
was post '84.
Was post '84.
Yeah.
And not necessarily the guns, but the attachments that were on the guns weren't made until after '84. So
whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I'm just.
They
whatever. Gun guys watching movies is torture.
Sometimes I can get past it and just enjoy it, but sometimes like that was probably the most recent one I could think of that was like, what? Okay.
Oh, but anyway, what I wanted to say before, and it's probably the last thing I got to say about anything is I really love the scene where they walk in when they're in their base and they got the acid going through the pipes.
Oh, yeah.
When he comes in, she shoots all the pipes and it drops the acid on
Yeah.
it. I thought that was fucking awesome.
That was awesome.
That was
them
awesome.
Flipping the bus was kind of a cool stunt.
Yeah.
It was a little ridiculous, but it was kind of cool.
I mean, anybody who's watched a Michael Bay movie has seen that, though.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like
But at least they didn't do the whoop, 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 whoop,
No,
whoop.
they should. They probably should.
Whoop.
I think they would have to give him...
I can't wait for Ninja Turtles 3 so we can see them float down another river in slow motion. Whoop, 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 whoop. Or another...
He'll probably slow it down a little bit.
Transformers. Oh my God.
Yeah,
please, Michael Bay, stop. Please stop making movies.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
Stop. Get some help.
Get some help. Real quick before we close it off, I have to say the best part about that movie, I'm a little biased because the nostalgia thing, it's him fighting his younger self.
Yeah.
And it actually looked okay. It actually looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was pretty cool. I really did.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I've forgotten a lot about this movie.
Really? You have to watch
And it only came out a year
It was
ago.
really, it was really good. You really tried to suppress that, didn't you?
I did
bad.
like him fighting himself, and I liked him smiling.
Yeah. There's a few good parts in that movie. It really was.
Well, see, everything that had to do with acting or with the actual people talking and stuff, I really only liked Arnold.
Yeah, I can see that.
Actually, that ain't true. What's his name?
Plays Kyle Reese?
No, the cop. Damn it. He's going to be Commissioner Gordon. The new one.
Oh, yeah, J.J. Simmons?
Yes.
J.K. No, it's J.K. Simmons.
JK.
J.K. Simmons, I'm sorry. Sorry, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, you should be.
Gosh, dang it.
Well, I completely forgot his
Whatever.
name anyway. But yeah, he...
J.K. Rowling, J.K. Simmons, J.K. Sturgeon. I can't get it all. I can't get it all lined out.
He was pretty good too. But other than him, everything else that I liked had to do with Arnold.
Yeah.
He was just... it was good. It was funny.
It was.
It was more funny than anything with him.
Yeah.
Pops.
Yeah, Pops.
I prefer Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know. There's not really much left to say about the franchise. It's kind of like he said several times earlier.
Yeah, after two.
Why
even talking about it?
Like, why even talk about it? Because we went all day without 1 and 2, and I could still go farther, but that would just be crazy at this point.
Yeah, we're
running long, but
running long.
We'll run a little late. But
we had a lot to say.
We did. Yeah. Is any closing arguments for either one of you?
I don't know.
Any closing statements you want about?
What do y'all think about if Jim Cameron came back?
Oh my God. Okay. Let's talk about this real quick for a second. So when T2 came out back in theaters, James Cameron has been trying to get it back, and he is pushing, and I think the 6 is coming, and I would eat it up. And I hope he does, and I'm hoping Schwarzenegger comes back too somehow.
The last thing
I did like how they explained it, by the way, in Genesis, him getting older.
I did like
anyway.
That. But the last thing I heard was that he wants full creative control.
Give it to him.
But will they?
Give it to him. And I'm not saying James Cameron's just amazing, but by God, he's better than what we've had.
He needs it.
He does need it. See, I'm way more full on 100% in for James Cameron coming back, and he needs to. He needs it back anyway. I'm way more excited for that than I would be for George Lucas to ever touch Star Wars again. Even though people don't like J.J. Abrams, I just,
man, they can eat a dick. I don't care.
I don't care, and I don't even think he has to necessarily stay. I just don't want George Lucas to come back.
Lucas has proven that he's senile. He's proven.
He's completely because if he comes back, I'm going to tell you something, boys. Snoke will be Jar Jar Binks.
I guarantee. No,
can you imagine that?
That's the only way I would ever like Jar Jar Binks.
Well, yeah, but that would be such a kick in the nuts to everybody. Can you imagine the rage? You think Ferguson was bad? This is going to be epic proportion.
Get out.
This is the epic proportions. This is the epic proportion catastrophic event in history, the history of history.
Yeah.
Whatever Trump says, I don't know. This is crazy.
This is the worst deal.
This is the worst deal of all the history of all trade deals ever.
Jar Jar Binks is Snoke.
That's
fake news.
Jar Jar Binks is fake. Yeah. He's going to go in and personally finish the film.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do.
Yeah. We can only hope.
Yeah. Throw Jar Jar Binks over the
Make
wall.
Star Wars great again.
Yeah.
Make Terminator
We're
great
going to make an episode 10 that, and just discount 9 is what we're in. Well, I think we better wrap it up.
Yep, probably.
Probably about time too.
Yep.
So we've had a really good podcast. Had a lot of fun talking about Terminator. Pretty much unanimous that 1 and 2 is the only true Terminators that are amazing, and
anything after is
pointless. Even though I'll still watch them. So I guess
Right.
yeah, we'll still watch them.
They'll still get my $10.
So what I'm saying is don't listen to us because we don't know what we're talking about because we're hypocrites. Want to thank Andrew for coming back this week on Terminator. This has been awesome. And like I said, we want to do more, so we'll definitely have you back as often as you want. Awesome. So I appreciate that. So guys, we want to thank you for listening. Support us, like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. We go at Foppish Dandies, youtube.com at Foppish Dandies. I don't know. There's subscribe,
please,
like, share, scrub. I don't want no scrubs.
Do it now.
No. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for the opening riff again.
Yes. Thank you.
Guys, we'll talk to you later. See ya.